Right. So in my last 2 to 3 demonstration classes, we have come up with all these things that which are connected with the DBA. Especially, we have come up with introduction to DBA from this point. SQL Server provides two types of environments. And connecting with this standalone environment, this was the architecture that I have covered. Standalone. Yeah, this was the topic we have discussed about standalone environment. And after that, yesterday, we have discussed about roles of DBA, right? That includes basics first about installation and configuration of SQL Server. That was first part we have discussed. And after that, we have how to work with what we are going to learn about SQL Server databases. That part I listed. Then security in SQL Server, disaster recovery planning, automation tasks, high availability, monitoring of SQL Server. These are the things that I have explained you in my last session. Right? Roles of DB. Yeah. Today, let's continue with the next part where we'll see what is the life cycle of database implementation. That already yesterday I said designing stage, development stage, production stage, 3 stages. Okay, three stages. And in each stage, we are responsible for few things. What it is, we'll discuss. Today, we will study about them. Right? Okay. Now, first point for designing, under designing stage, right? What are the tasks that are involved in this? For example, for architect, for designing stage, first requirement is planning and analyzing client requirements. Planning and analyzing client requirements. That is first task for an architect. Okay. For example, any project that which is connecting either with desktop application or it is a project related with web application or it is a project related with mobile application. Somewhere or the other, in all the scenarios, designing will play major role. Exactly in the same way, if that application has a connection with the database, then also you require to have what? Planning. So, for example, assume that you have a plan of creating a database. You have a plan of creating a database related to, for example, some supermarket. Okay, supermarket. If I want to make a database related with supermarket, so first I should have no knowledge about that supermarket. Then only I can go with designing. That is the reason a client who is planning to establish a database for his supermarket, he is the one who is going to explain us what are the requirements in his business. What are the requirements in his business? So whenever he explains the requirements in the business, architect will understand that requirements and accordingly he will design the database. That is what the point. Client requirement, planning, and analyzing. Plan correctly, that comes only when you properly analyze, and then that should be completing the requirement of our client. Once this is over, we talk about designing a database after analyzing, after planning. And whenever you design a database, this is what happens in real time. Sometimes designing will go months together. Designing will go months together. You understand? So only when you have a real-time exposure to database with at least 14 to 15 years of experience on a database environment, till that time, company will not appoint you as an database architect. So you should have experience matters here. Okay. And now the point is, whenever architect designs a database, company will make a policy with him. Company will enforce a rule on him. And that rule is, whatever he is designing, he is supposed to write a document of the design. Preparing design documents. Yes. Preparing design documents, planning and analyzing client requirement, designing a database, and what else? Preparing design documents. For example, if I'm designing a database, and if the database design goes, say, for example, 3 months, in that 3 months, 1 month design is over, and after that, architect got some good opportunity. As simple as that, he leaves the job. If he leaves the job, till where he completed the designing, I should know now. Tomorrow, replacing him when a company appoints a new architect, that fellow should know now till where the current project designing is over. What are the things he has designed? What are the rules he has followed in the design, how he linked the things in the designing, how many objects he has used in the designing, what are the columns he has planned to put in the design. Is all clarity the other architect will get only when the previous architect makes a document design. Only when he writes a design document, that document will help other people to understand and then continue the designing from that point where he stopped. That is the reason I used a word, policy. Company will make a policy with the architect to compulsory write the what document design. He cannot deny once a policy is made. He is 100% supposed to write what? Okay. Now going forward on this, what you study is, on this part is development part. As a developer, what are the responsibilities of developer? What developer should do? When talking about developer, the responsibilities of developer is implementing database. Implementing database. Second is coding, debugging. Coding, and second is what? Debugging. And third one is fine-tuned queries. Fine-tuning queries. Means developer is involved in writing programs. Developer is involved. Hope you remember in my introduction classes, last to last class, I said you very clearly that for a developer, something to have a knowledge is about T-SQL. That is called transact SQL. That too with 3 types of coding process. Three types of coding process. One they call anonymous block programming. That is something referred as nameless blocks stored in buffer. These blocks are stored in buffer. And under anonymous block programming, here I include all these things. Basic programming is covered here. Then something learned is about exception handling is introduced. And then we talk about cursors. Almost three major topics are covered here. And when it comes to another part that is called stored block programming, that is also called named blocks. These are stored in database, and this deals with stored procedures, then stored functions, then stored triggers. This part I'm talking about. So who is involved in all this? Who is involved in all this? Developer. Developer is involved. Coding part completely is in the control of, yeah. DBA is not involved in all this. I don't need to know anything about coding. I don't need to have known anything about it. But I said in my introduction classes, if you are planning to go with experience, then things matter. Then rules apply. Then compulsory company test your SQL, even skills of SQL. Both they will test. Coding, debugging, fine-tuning queries. What more? What more? Yes, now we have something to learn about testing database. Testing database. That is also a work of developer. What do you mean by fine-tuning queries? What exactly it means? Yeah, fine-tuning queries is actually dependent on two factors. Fine-tuned query. Only when that query meets with these two factors, then that query is considered to be a fine-tuned queries. Fine-tuned query. What are those two factors? One is your query should have smooth execution. I mean, like you can say like convenient and efficient. Best way to describe two factors. Convenient and efficient. These are the two factors on the basis of which we are going to define fine-tuned queries. Even when you write a query for real time, company will not accept that query just like that. That query will be sent for testing. If it is going with sufficient execution speed, then that query is accepted. If that query is not going with sufficient speed, they'll send that query back with the reasons of what happening, how much time it is taking, so that you have to find alternate solutions, alternate process, so that query can go with convenient and efficient way of what? Execution. Now, going forward to the next, as you talk about production, database administrator. What are your responsibilities? One is responsible for database maintenance. Yes, one responsibility. Second responsibility of DBA is monitoring and troubleshooting both database and server issues. Yes, both are database as well as server issues, both. And apart from this, database administrator is also responsible for following events. Yeah, what are they? One, no downtime. Never server should be down. Never server should be down. Never. No downtime. Yeah. Will this be sufficient? No, I said many factors, many factors. One, I'm talking about never, no downtime. Even if you are planning to down server, even if you're planning to down the server, you should plan thoroughly. You should plan perfectly. You should plan accurately. And you should have a prior intimation to every people who is working on that particular server. You understand? Decide a date, decide a day, decide the time. According to that, you give a prior intimation so that people can be prepared that on so and so date, on so and so time, server will not be available. So that they will do less operation. They will plan for less transactions on that particular day. No downtime, never, never. And you are the only one who should take responsibility even of data loss. No data loss, no data loss. Because someone's efforts we are going to maintain. Someone's efforts we are going to maintain. So obviously, the data storage will be done by developers. Data storage will be done by operators and their efforts, sometimes months together, they do the process, months together. And imagine a situation that that if just giving an example, like, and if you have stored like 1 month of data, they recorded in the database in different tables, billions and billions of data is available, and as simple you just conclude from your end as a DBA that some data is missing, so no one is answerable except you, like developer is helpless in that regard, architect is helpless in that regard. Now only person who need to care about the data is our job. It is, you understand? No data loss, never data is lost. And never we face, never performance issues. Never, no performance issues. Server should behave every time in the same way, the way it was working and in the day, in the beginning of day. In the beginning of day, the way it is working, 24 cross 7, 365 days, server should behave in the same way. Server cannot change its working process, in morning hours, in some way it works, in afternoon hours, it works in some way, at evening hours, it works in some way. That is not acceptable. No. Performance should never be down. Performance will never be down. And never you face, never, no security issues, no security problems, no security problems, never. You always maintain database with high security, with proper security. Only necessary content you share with the developers, necessary content you share with your, with those DBAs who are working on non-production environments. Production में तो experienced DBA will take care of. Non-production trainers, trained DBAs will take care of. You understand? So everything which is there on the main server, that is production server, cannot be shared with everyone. You understand? That comes even, with respect to your trust issues. That even comes with respect to, like, company believes you. Company will have a confidence on you. Everything you cannot take it for granted when you're managing your production administration, when you're working on production, as production DBA. When you're maintaining production server, these all things should be considered even in that. And even you should not face no connectivity issues, etc. There, it should not be like morning 9 o'clock connection was made, 12 o'clock that developer is unable to connect, some issue has come. So that type of things are not allowed. Usually, this situation we get fined, especially when you're working with internet. One website, it works morning in a better way. By afternoon, because of many people's activated on that website, or working on that website, automatically little slow it becomes. I won't say that completely slow, little slow it becomes. And when you have a huge traffic on the internet on that particular website which you're trying to access, then though you forget, you get lot of issues in accessing that particular website. So here I'm talking about database connectivity. Never you find database connectivity issues. Never, never. Yeah, you have anything to ask me on this? Go ahead. If not, I'll continue with my next topic.
How you
Yes.
doing, sir?
Yeah, fine, fine.
Yes, I want to ask a question about what is the level of proficiency that a DBA is required to have when it comes to writing SQL queries, like coding? Like,
Hmm.
what are we looking at, the advanced level or the intermediate level
Hmm.
or just the basic level? Because
Right.
oftentimes I
No.
hear people say that as a DBA, they don't really need to know how to write SQL. So, and I
Yes.
was
Yes.
wondering.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I understood.
Thank you.
Let me explain you two things here. Let me explain you two things. See, in general, in general, total administration of SQL Server can be managed through Wizard. Wizard in the sense it is just a process of click, 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 and you're done. You understand what I'm saying, right? It's about Wizard, I'm saying WIZARD, Wizard process. But when it comes to an interview, when it comes to an interview, interviewer will not be interested to look for your knowledge which you carry with you with wizard process, because in wizards sometimes I'm saying one option if you miss in it, then the total sequence you lose in it. So for that reason, when I start my administration practicals, I would even focus specially on a scenario of writing queries.
Okay.
So in that case, you should be well, well well knowledge with joins, subqueries, you understand? And you should be
Yeah.
thorough working with DMVs, TMFs. They call dynamic management views, dynamic management functions. You should be thorough with a topic called only views.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Coding part,
Yeah.
we may not come across much to use. Coding part, not at all, not at all. Coding
Okay.
part, very less, very less. It is like you can say, if you talk about coding part, for developers, they should know, they should excel in that. They should excel. They should have a very strong knowledge in the development. Developers should have that knowledge. DBA, compulsory. Querying part, though, you can't compromise. You are supposed to write queries. Definitely, interviewer will expect from you that how good you are in working with dictionary tables, how good you are in working with system tables.
Okay. Okay.
You understand? He won't
Yes.
ask you. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. If they ask you how to know like how many users are working on a database. I'll give you an example. Just open. I'll open this
Okay.
tool that's called Management Studio. Connect. The question is being asked like example, I'm saying example. Question is being asked like how many users are working on a database called ProdDB. Now you cannot explain him. Believe me, you cannot explain him that you go to Object Explorer, expand databases, select ProdDB, then go to security, then go to users. You'll get the list of users. He will not be interested to listen to this story of wizard process. He
Yes.
simply asked you how many users are working on a database. You can't explain him this wizard process. Rather, he will ask you to get the list of users working on database, or he may ask you to get the number of users working on database, and that could be achieved by writing a query. Do you understand what I'm saying, right? That could be achieved by writing what I'm saying, query,
Yes.
query. Without
Yes.
query, nothing. Highly impossible. That is the reason I mainly that is till when you are into job. Once you are into job, no one will care like why you are writing this process, why you're not writing this process, why you're going with. No one will ask you that. But interview has to be attempted. Interview has to be cleared, and that will be possible only when you carry knowledge of writing what
Well,
queries.
thank you, sir.
Yeah, right. And one more interesting thing. One more interesting. Let me even talk on that now. Say, for example, as just now I placed a question. Just now I placed one query, and that query was like, how many users are working on a database? This is a query asked. Or they can ask you, how many logins are created in a database? You understand? Any of the reasons, not necessarily that you talk only about the one which I'm saying. So they definitely they expect lot of things from you, connecting with what? List of users, list of logins. You understand? So based on that, you have to answer. How do you get? He may ask you to write a query, or he may ask you to explain, or they may ask you to explain anything related with what? Query. So if you, as a question is asked, what? Write a query. How do you get list of it? That's simple. If you are experienced, if you are practicing well, then definitely you have an answer. SP underscore help user execute. You understand? So I may be provided with list of users that which are connected with a database. Do we have a batch in the morning? No, Amol. But for DBA, I don't have batch in the morning. I have a batch somewhere in, at what do you call afternoon, 3 o'clock. I have a batch, but they are at the ending stage now. I'm taking up the content for them, and backup, restore, recovery is going on. After that, they are left with last module. So evening, this is the only time I have for DBA now at 8 p.m. So my next batch may be in the morning hours, but at this point of time, we don't have batch. Or you have another point like management will share. You can even think on that. I'm not saying anything like which you feel comfortable. You follow that, but still, I just will give you a suggestion. Every session will be recorded, and all the videos of that recording will be with the management. You can collect. You can management will share those videos with you. You can go through them even with videos as well. And when the batch starts, when the timing is comfortable, you can shift to that batch. You understand? The way a session is going on, the same way things will go even by listening to the recorded session. After listening to the recorded session, you feel that somewhere you have anything to clarify, or you have anything that you want to make, understand things with little clarity, or sometimes, few things which participants may not ask. I make overlook into that topic, and that may be a doubt for you. So if any such issues on a day before, update me through either my email. I'll share my even WhatsApp number with you. You can be in touch with me in that as well. You can make a clarification. You can go with clarification of doubts at your comfortable time. Right? Okay. You look into your convenient, and then based on that, you can make a decision of. Okay. Right. Now, going forward on this, what I said, this is what I was talking about. List of users. Why will he ask you wizard process? Obviously, he'll ask you about this one. No? He'll ask you about what? Either he'll ask you to say which system stored procedure we use to get list of users, or he will ask you to write a query. He'll ask you to write a query so that you can get list of users. List of users. You understand? But I'll cover both ways, wizard also, query also. But my focus will be purely on both areas. But wizard based, I do very less. Practical, I'll show you. But more than that, you have to stress on query based process. Instead of completely depending on wizard, it's better you go. And one thing is, like if I go with wizard-based process, then I don't need 40 days to complete your DBA. 45 days, I don't need to complete DBA. It is hardly 1 month is enough. I just need to show you click here, click here, click here, click here. You're done with the requirement. That will not help you in clearing interviews. That will not help you. Okay. So it matters a lot. I stress on queries. You should be prepared on that. I'll give you notes, soft copy, everything. Right? Nothing to worry on it. Wizard-based steps also I have prepared for my notes. Script-based, I mean the query-based also I have prepared with respect to the notes. It's left to you now how you go, how you prepare, how you put your efforts to understand all that stuff. Mm.
Quick question.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it,
Yes.
please.
So I want to ask, so is there going to be like a shared folder where we can always go to retrieve some of those documentation that you have put together, like some of
Yeah,
the notes and all that? So
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
there, how
definitely,
do we
definitely.
get them?
Yeah, 100%. You don't worry on that. I'm here to share them. Nothing. I very clearly said in my demo class, videos are in the control of our management since they are being
Okay.
recorded in cloud. So videos you get from management, notes is in my control. It's notes is with
Okay.
me. I'm the one who is going to share your complete notes. Nothing to worry.
Okay. Okay. Thank you,
Complete
sir.
notes I'll give you. Complete notes.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Very detailed prepared notes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, right. Now, one more interesting thing. I'll just make a list. Types of servers. Types of servers in SQL Server. And remember, one database server. Database server. DBAs, developers work with the database server. That's it. That is the only area we are working with. No other server is connected to us. If you talk about the second, you call that as report server. No, we don't work on it. We are not here to look into reporting. We are not here to present information in a better way. No, we are not talking about presentation. We are here to secure information. We are not here. Our job is not to present information. That is all about BI developers will take care of. Integration server. Integration server. And third is analysis server. These three will be related with these three are related with MSBI, Microsoft Business Intelligence. Yeah, very recently, I completed one of the corporate trainings for a bank in Ghana. For a bank, the bank they call a Stanbic Bank in Ghana. For that bank employees, I have given a training from India, online training. It was for MSBI, where we talk only about those three servers: reporting, integration, analysis. That is referred by SSIS, SSRS, SSAS. Very recently, I completed one corporate training for a country called Ghana. That is for MSBI. And I just will give you overview kind of thing. We have a lot of things to study on these servers. A instant you can call a review about these servers. What? Database server to work with the databases. It works with SQL commands. Report to generate reports. Interface to present data. Integration server to perform ETL process, to implement export and import activities. And I will be covering here. I mean, in terms of development course, I'm saying development course, we will learn this export and import activity, not by the ETL process. No, no, no. That is integration server. That is different discussion we have. I rather take up in my development classes. I'm saying development classes. I talk about this utility. This is one utility called BCP. BCP utility, bulk copy program. This will help us to implement or to do export and import activity. Export and import activity. Analysis server to implement data warehouse. To implement data warehouse. Yes. Overview, I said overview. I'm not talking about depth of all this, just overview kind of thing. Right. Keeping these things in view. Yes. Now we will expand, not today. Next class, we will talk on this. Types of services. Next class, I'll discuss. Detail, I'll explain you this. Because we are the one who is going to work on this services related with SQL Server. So for that reason, I'll explain you in detail about it. Nothing to worry. Okay. Next class, we will discuss.